Good afternoon, and welcome into another Titan Talk. Apologies about the slightly delay.
It's my fault. It's totally my fault.
It's been a busy day.
I was trying to get the. We post like a post on our Xbox Club and on our on the PlayStation news page, and we post the like Steam update like announcement. I think it's called an announcement on Steam, and we update the box art on Steam, and I was trying to frantically get all that done after our playtest.
Which took longer than expected.
Because playtest started late today because we were getting the update live, and then it lasted a little bit longer than it does sometimes. Yeah. So I was trying to eat my lunch while we're doing. So totally my fault that we're a couple of minutes late starting today. I apologize. But
it's one of those shows where we don't have as much to talk about because normally we'd come on this and at least go, okay, so we saw the update go out yesterday.
Yeah.
But today the update's just gone
out. Yeah. And just to talk through kind of what happened there a little bit, right?
Yeah, sure.
So we've been on a very steady 2-week cadence for a very long time.
Correct.
And I think this is the first time we've had a patch actually slip even a day.
I want to say it's been years.
In a long, long time.
Years.
So this is not an excuse for it. This is just saying like I'm surprised
it's not happened earlier.
It hasn't happened earlier, considering how quickly we move.
I agree.
And how like narrow our
windows are,
right? Again, we don't want to be delayed. That's why we have never done it up until now. But just to talk through what happened. So when I was on the show on Monday, I said, hey, we think there might be an issue with our PlayStation submission, and there's a chance that we have to delay the release. Well, the PlayStation release, we actually were able to work through the issue with that, and we encountered another cert issue on the Microsoft side.
Okay.
So people that have been blaming Sony, not Sony's fault. And to be clear, this also was not Microsoft's fault. This was as much our fault as it was Microsoft's fault.
Okay.
So to explain exactly what happened, there is a specific file that you need to include in your build when you build the game for a platform, right? And that file basically tells the platform that you are authorized to make a build for the platform. And this file expires every X amount of time. This file had expired for us, and we did not realize that it had expired until late in the certification process when they came back and they said, oh, your file's expired. You need to run a new build with the updated file, submit it again, and then we will approve it. But we can't approve it unless it has this updated validation file in it. Right. So the delay was entirely just we needed to kick a new build, which takes half a day. Then we needed to submit that build for approval to confirm that it's good, and then release it again. So it's our fault for not noticing that this file was about to expire, because normally we're really good about we know we have it on our calendar. We know when it's going to expire. We request the new file from the platform. We update the build variables, and everything's fine. Yeah, which is why we don't normally see this happen. But this time it just slipped our notice that this file was about to expire, and unfortunately it expired like a day before the submission. So we didn't catch it. It expired, and then we were delayed getting the new file and kicking a new build and then releasing it again. So that's the exact what happened with why we were delayed.
Gotcha.
It was again mostly on our side. We asked if they would give us a waiver so that we could just go live with the version we had, and they're like, "Oh, you kind of got to update the file." We're like, okay, fine, we'll update the file. So apologies for that, and we are live now. And hopefully people are enjoying the patch, and let us know, what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what issues you're facing. I know people haven't been playing it for too long. Probably a lot of people in chat have not played it at all yet. But I'm looking forward to any feedback that we do see. How much does a validation file cost? It doesn't cost anything. You just have to be you have to have an agreement with the platform to be allowed to publish on the platform. And I don't think that don't quote me on this. And I don't know if I could tell you if it did, but I don't think it costs anything. I think it's just you have to have a business agreement with them that says we're going to do X, and they're gonna do X, and it's like their standard partner publishing agreement kind of thing. In order to be able to publish on Xbox or PlayStation. And we have that. But I don't think we had to pay anything for a new validator file. I think it's literally just, we just have to ask and they need to give it to us and then we need to do the build. So
cool. Well, we'll take questions in chat real quick.
Yeah.
Quick mention, this weekend we should have this Ratatoskr Flurry skin available for you all as a Twitch drop available in the game. I'll guarantee, I'm not going to guarantee it today, but definitely on Friday I'll let you know it should be available Saturday because the patch just came out, so I've got to check it all works there and get the Twitch drops organized on that front. Additionally, Smite Prime has a weekend starting up this weekend, so make sure you check out Smite Prime for the May circuit. And last but not least, we've got Petals and Palettes event going on right now for all you amazing artists out there. Make sure you check out the art submissions that come in and do the voting for it, but also submit your artwork as well to earn a bit of prize. And that's kind of stuff we've got going on in the community at the moment.
Awesome. People are asking Atlas win rate already. We don't have any data on how, I mean, technically, yes, I could pull data at any time.
100 games or so.
But really, we'd like to wait at least 24 hours before we pull any data just to get like a full picture of how things work. And it's also a lot easier for us to pull data after like 24 hours because essentially the like any tech company, we have multiple databases.
Yeah.
And the database that we run a lot of our analysis off of pulls things from the live database like once a day. So, and basically it's so that we don't have to hit the live database constantly with analysis queries. We can just do that on a separate database. So technically to pull data right now, we'd have to pull it off the live database and it isn't like on the analysis database yet. Go into the future and pull data. Sorry, we don't have Chronos in the game yet, so I do not have control of time. And actually, I guess Giannis is through space and time, through time and space. Did you know this because you're around? Yeah. But Genos in Paladins is the opposite, and that's why I can never remember it.
Yeah.
One of them is through space and time.
I noticed you will switch it randomly and go, which one am I supposed to talk about again?
And the other one is time and space. Yeah, but and the names are very similar too.
They
are. Genos and Giannis, Genos, one of my favorite characters in Paladins, but
I liked his ultimate for sure.
He was,
I thought he was interesting.
And I think that like support with a more traditional gun is something that's like really appealing to people in that game.
Yeah.
And then also cool story. I liked his background. I liked a lot of what we did with him. Can we get the first person to reach Mastery 10 for each god during one of these shows? So I will say we have talked about how we can do more to make kind of the road to Radiant, the race to Radiant, whatever you want to call it, like a little bit more interesting and fun for people. So one thing that we have been talking about is like a way to recognize people that are some of the first to reach rank 10 for each god in game.
Yeah.
And more to share about that in the future, but like I think we are aware of that community request. And
I do have
some thoughts.
Sonic to the Moment reached out to me this past week regarding that from the SMITE 2 Discord, asking could they do a small event, and there is a little bit of a diamond prize, and if you get to rank 10 quick and showcase them there, check out the SMITE 2 Discord for that. But we're not doing anything super official on our end at the moment, just until we get our ducks in a row on that front, so to speak. But I do like the idea of doing a sort of like first to 10, announcement of like, hey, you were the first one to get to rank 10 diamond.
Cool. Sorry, I just need to send one quick message.
That's okay. Atlas can stun towers with his not deployed passive, by the way. Yeah, I'm aware of that at the moment. I am getting bug reports. We are getting bug reports in there. I have got notes down on that one, so thank you. It's not a huge detriment one, but it's still enough to make it get looked at and checked out. I did see a question about, did we see that huge bug Reddit thread that popped up? I know we did. The one that like someone
the tooltips.
Yeah, just a whole tooltip one. It's huge. I think that's the one thing with tooltips is, honestly, we want to get to them all. We do want to correct them all, but it's finding the time to go through and get them all is sometimes a bit of a window issue. So
yeah, I think we are going to start working through those.
Yeah.
We do really appreciate people that put in the time and effort to come up with those. Like, obviously we look at stuff, but we move so quickly that it's hard to go back and do the comprehensive look at everything given where we are in the development process right now. But yeah, I definitely appreciate that. And it's something that we will take a look at.
Do we see the bug where people can summon multiple Mike Typhons? Yeah, we're aware of that at the moment, and now we're working on the fix. I'm not sure if we've already got one in. Obviously, I've been out the last 2 days, so I don't know for sure, but it may be in game, it may not be, but we are looking into it.
Are you worried about the new virus on the boat?
Yes,
I am worried about this. My wife is a nurse.
So what's the story?
So there was a cruise
Right.
that stopped in, I want to say, Argentina.
Okay.
And had a hantavirus outbreak.
Nice.
Hantavirus is incredibly deadly.
Yep.
Like 50% of people that are infected with it die, and 30% are really bad, right?
Neat.
But one of the things about hantavirus is that hantavirus is never transmitted person to person, right? Yeah. But apparently there's a new strain in Argentina that may be transmitting person to person. And one of the people on the cruise ship got on a plane back to South Africa. So now they're contact tracing all the people that were on the plane with this person. And
Cool.
I'm not worried about a lot of things. I'm not like super worried about this, but like my wife, who is very medically knowledgeable,
if you're in the
has
medical
been
field,
like, ooh, this is bad.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
ooh,
There's a lot of concerns
yeah, we should be
there,
worried
for
about
sure.
that.
If you play the game Pandemic, yeah, I've seen that. It's a good game.
Yeah.
Good game. One can always spread it.
A lot of feedback I've seen about the delay is people were more upset that there was no in-game message. Is there more chance of seeing in-game messages in the future?
What's the in-game issue you're referring to? That just like the patch is delayed, or
Yeah, so I can see that, and I think that potentially that might make more sense, especially because we have the date saying Atlas is going to release on this date in-game.
That's fair.
I think that is a valid point that we could have used the in-game message function to say, hey, the update's been delayed due to certification. I think we probably should have done that. That's a good idea that we didn't think of.
I will say sometimes when we have the notifications as well, I know our system there isn't the greatest and people get frustrated with the notification being on the screen at the same time. Good example, Kali Aspect recently. So it's kind of a balancing point of like, I know it's not available. It's not a big issue.
Did I see the Met Gala looks? I don't pay any attention to the Met Gala. The only reason that I'm aware that the Met Gala happened is that one of my friends was posting memes of like, I forget who it was, but it was like somebody, who was it? It was some god with a stun in Smite 2, right?
Okay.
And it was a photoshopped image of the Met Gala with like, God stuns in Met Gala appearance.
Okay.
And it was just like a dumb joke about like
a play on it.
Yeah, like Smite X Met Gala. And that's the only reason I'm aware that it happened. I'm not a fashion guy. I'm not a, high class dude. I sit here in my, clearance shirts from Kohl's.
What is the Met Gala? Like it's just a
it's a bunch of rich people wearing like high fashion things.
Cool.
At a big ball in New York that raises money for the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Okay, he's got a reason. He's got a positive reason for it. Other than
Theoretically,
just, like, we're dressed up and looking pretty.
Yeah, but I think they spend so much money on like looking pretty that they probably could just give money. Like I'm the kind of person that I hate it when there's like a fundraiser where they're like, buy my chocolate. I'm like, I would rather just give $5 to the thing than buy chocolate I don't want, right?
But
like,
what if the chocolate's good?
I would rather just buy the chocolate I want. Like, by the way, Tony's Chocolonely.
Here we go. Yep.
Incredible chocolate. If you've never had Tony's, it's like so good. They sell it at Target. It's not like fancy. It's from the Netherlands, and it's like my favorite chocolate. Like, it's not even close. Anyway, sorry, I'm all over the place today.
It's fine. It's one of those shows. I mean, we managed to get through 20 minutes of this so far where I'm like, what are we going to talk to everybody about today? So this works. Jaden
Smith Househead is good. This must be a Met Gala thing. I saw last year Andre 3000 was wearing a piano on his back.
Okay.
To promote
a full piano?
To promote his new like album where he played the piano.
Wait, when you say he's wearing a piano on his back.
Yeah, like a backpack, but it was like a piano.
A baby piano, like a small.
It wasn't like a grand piano.
Yeah, okay, so because
it was
my
big.
mind was like a full grand piano.
It was like, quite large.
How is he carrying that? Okay.
I don't know if it was playable, but
what UK chocolate do I miss? Honestly, Cadbury's. I mean, you can get Cadbury's over here, but it's not the same. But Cadbury's chocolate, and the milk is pretty good, but you can get that too. But that's not technically UK. That's German. On PS5, even though I have the Poseidon Biol, the Sylvanas and Zeus packs are still asking for 700 diamonds each.
Yeah.
This has to be a bug, right? Yes.
It is a bug. And I believe we have fixed it so that if you click on it, you cannot actually
hopefully
buy it. That was but we couldn't actually turn off the button because of partially the way it was set up. But don't worry, you do own everything. It's just a bug with how that button is working. We will attempt to fix it as soon as we can. But you can't click on it if you already own everything, so don't worry about it. What is my favorite Tony's chocolate flavor? And did I know that they aim for 100% slave-free, illegal child labor, and modern slavery in the cocoa industry? I did know that they were supposed to be like a very ethical chocolate. I don't follow all the details of the chocolate I eat. I'm sorry, I'm not that deep into it. But they have one that's like toffee.
Okay.
Or it's like sea salt and toffee or something, sea salt caramel or something. And it's like, that one's my favorite.
So I've got a sneeze coming. That's why I look stupid.
Also, quick shout out. Nice new art on the Doublet and Alchemist coat. Yeah, I believe we updated a couple of the arts in this update.
Did we?
Yeah. Hi-Rez was able to get them in kind of like last minute.
Hell yeah.
Because he'd been working on them and he had enough that were like done that he was able to move forward with.
That's great news.
So I think that like the ones that I think a couple got in, I don't know exactly how many. And then, the goal is we're through more in the next update and gradually replace all of the MS Paint ones. So, will there be a revisit of the base stats change? There are some warriors with a lower health pool than a handful of assassins, which doesn't make much sense to me. So I think yes, in that we have talked about base stats, and there are a few outliers that we probably want to adjust. However, looking at what those actually mean, I don't think that they make as much of a difference as the community perceives right now. And I'm not saying that the community's wrong.
No, sure.
I'm just, because they do make a difference. But we were looking at like what would the difference, like Thor and Daji are tanky junglers right now, right? What would the difference be if we took them down to like where they should be? And it's like maybe 100, 200 HP at max level, right?
Right.
Which makes a difference. Don't get me wrong. But is that the absolute core of the issue? Maybe not. So we were looking at kind of the other issues first around jungler snowballing and things that were causing junglers to have advantages there. And then I think that like there is still the feedback that we need to do more on of like, brawler solo laners, I think is the best way to talk about it, right? Because like range solos are still strong in some instances. And people feel like the tanky solos aren't necessarily as tanky as they
could be,
as they could or should be, right?
I think the stages of the game is part of it, right? Of like if some of these have like a higher health pool earlier on, but you're not really feeling the effect of the health increase over time. But then there's ones that are very weak early on, and then it feels like once they get stronger, they're good. But it's kind of a flex there. So,
yeah. I think it's like, but it's one of those problems that I think that I guess what I'm saying is I think that like if you just look at the base stats, 100 hit points here and there certainly will make a difference, but I don't know if that's going to change what people are feeling. Sure. And I think the point of what people are feeling with the feedback of like, why are these junglers tankier than warriors, is that they want warriors to be tankier, not as much that like...
They expect a warrior to be like base-wise able to take on an assassin in a way at level 1 sort of thing. Have a higher health pool.
Any news on... Oh, no. Did I hear Hi-Rez made the art? Like Founders do? No, not Hi-Rez. Rice. Eric Rice is one of our artists here. And they do kind of sound similar.
I thought I did sound...
Yeah, sorry. Rice made the art, not Hi-Rez. So apologies if that was confusing. I see a report of an issue with Chiron Masterful Shot, and I'm just gonna take a picture of that so that I have that with the full context for reporting in a minute. But I've not heard of that issue personally.
Any plans to change the components on some of the new stat items? Shogun still builds off magical prot, for example. Yeah, I do think the team is aware of that, and they are going to look into it at some point. We're aware we put these new items in the game. They needed tier 2s, and some of the areas they did go into does have stats that you then lose when you upgrade, etc., etc. But it is on the list.
Is there a way that we can see what's in the chest from the buy all event when you buy more after you get the final skin? It's probably something we should add at some point. I don't know if there's a way to do that in game right now, because I think the only way you can see that is on the chess screen. That's probably valid feedback. It's a free thing, so it's a little bit. It's like when it's a free reward. Like, we probably still should show it, but sure. I'm just like trying to make sure. I'm trying to think if like there's an actual issue around it, and the issue is we're not showing it. But just like I don't think it's like, I don't think it's something that's going to get us in trouble.
Sure. So, when did the weekly quests reset? I thought it was the beginning of the week. I finished them close to the end and didn't refresh until the middle of next week. Can the reset date be moved? I don't actually know the reset date.
I don't know either. India would probably be the person that knows that.
I can try and investigate that for sure, like when we do it. I do understand of like the resets can, especially with patches as well, or updates can come into play. But I'll have a word with India and ask regarding that.
Why did we decide to add Horus now instead of earlier? Because there was a hole to be filled by a physical support for the longest time with all of the mage ADC aspects. I think that, like, generally speaking, gods get on the calendar when they get on the calendar as a combination of, like, the main reasons are popularity, how the workload affects different teams, and in part, like, if there is a design goal that they feel needs to be met, where this god is important for the meta, right?
Yeah.
And I think, like, Horus in particular has a quite challenging, like, technical implementation. Like, it may not seem like it, but the ultimate is actually quite difficult to do. And, like, just in terms of where it fit in terms of, like, all of those factors, this was the first time that really made sense to us to do it. It wasn't we weren't like, you know what, we hate physical supports. It was just, this was where it made sense.
Hindu, did Austin enjoy being on Titan Talk last week, and would he ever consider coming on in the future? After talking with Austin, he's not really cool on being on the shows too often, but he will pop on now and again in case of a pinch. For example, Alex was out this week, so for the most part, I was like, well, would Austin be available? And he was willing to, but don't expect to see him on too often. He'd rather be in the back room working away on the game than sat here chatting about it, to be honest, for the most part. It's not that he, doesn't care or anything like that. He's just busy with other stuff.
Yeah. He's like, dude's always grinding, always. And he's very happy working on the game, right? And like, he'll come on every now and again, but it's not.
I'm glad he came on last week though, just to like kind of show face for a second, introduce himself to the community a little bit, and make them aware of it. But he's been around for so long, like so long, longer than both of us, as well, in terms of doing this. So yeah.
How is Charon aspect supposed to be used? Mid, solo, or support? I feel like he's always underperforming. I think the goal with it was that it was more of a mid aspect, and one that kind of scales more into late game. And I think that the problem has largely been that, like, early game pressure has been so important in the meta that you don't see it a lot in, like, streamed or professional kind of games, because it's good late game, and that's not good in the meta. Is it probably fine in your casuals? Yeah, probably. But like for highest levels of play, having the disadvantage of being weak early is probably just too much of a drawback for it to rise up.
Since you made sure get passive can't reduce crit damage below the damage of non-crit, can you do the same for Spectral Armor passive? It makes ability crit do less than non-crits. I do know Spectral Armor did just get a touch in this update, so check it out in game now. It has been reduced a little bit just based off how that interaction works. If it's not enough, I know the team will take a look and maybe revisit and reduce it a little bit more to bring it in line, but we do believe it should be good now. Or better, at least.
There's a question about a different game being removed from Game Pass, and are there any plans to remove SMITE 2 as it's also free to play? I play through Xbox One Cloud because I haven't upgraded, and I prefer to play on console than PC. So we don't have any plans to remove SMITE 2 from Game Pass. We just signed another deal with Game Pass, which isn't, I mean, the free-to-play Game Pass deal is not like it's more of a promotional deal than like a money making deal.
Hey,
Or
hey, you want to stay on here? Sure.
Yeah, if that's basically it. It's like they're like, hey, you guys want to keep doing this? We'll keep doing it. Okay, cool. So we just actually sent them the stuff for the next drop, which means it's about a month away. But yeah, we'll have like new quarterly drops, and cool. It'll keep going. But yeah, we don't have any intention to leave it. It's good visibility, and for people that use Game Pass, which I think is most Xbox owners. It's my experience as an Xbox owner. When I'm looking for a game to play on my Xbox, I click on the Game Pass tab
and see what's new.
See what's there, whether it's something new or whether it's a genre that I'm interested in, or and I literally never look at the normal store. So I think that in order to have some level of visibility on Xbox, if you want to be part of Xbox, you kind of need to be part of the Game Pass.
Can you tease some of the items that are being considered for the next updates? At the moment, no. For knowledge for you, Austin mentioned it on Friday of like there's a look at maybe bringing back 1 or 2 items that we'd seen in Smite 1, but we've not got any updates on that as of right now.
I think that like from my conversation with Austin, I don't know exactly what he said, but I think that we've been talking a lot about like the lack of like high single prod items. Yeah. Right.
He was mainly mentioned like finding items that we didn't really have in Smite 2 that we had in Smite 1 and trying to bring some of those over was kind of where he went to with it. So.
Yeah. So I think that I would expect that if, that something in that range is probably what he's thinking about.
I keep seeing people mention Relic Dagger, and I'm like, Relic Dagger would, in a weird way, be very strange because of all the active items we've got in the game now, and then the balance point would be off, in my opinion anyway, of Relic Dagger. I'm not saying Relic Dagger would be bad, but it would be OP if it was just to come straight over 1-for-1.
Yep. Who specifically is working on the upcoming announced gods? It's a bit chaotic to follow the dev order with a couple people leaving. We have... Opwash is a Caps god, and Horus is an Austin god, and I'm not going to say beyond that because I forget exactly what we've said beyond that. So I don't want to go too far here. And we do our new designer starts Monday. I'm excited.
Nice.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
He'll be here in office.
Awesome.
So he was going to start remote first, but was able to move out here sooner. So
nice. Swing it. Okay, cool. People in chat mentioning what we have and haven't announced.
So we have announced Bastet as well. Okay, so Bastet, because we showed the new model. That's right. Yeah. I remember. No, we did. I was here.
I wasn't here for the show when you did it either, so I'm okay. I'll just go with what you said.
We're working on so much right now. It's hard for me to remember what I have.
Every other day is a different day.
But Bastet is Caps and Cicerath. Jared, one of our programmers, is doing a lot on the tech side for her.
Awesome.
So, so those are the next announced gods, and we have not announced beyond that. So I will now truly be quiet about upcoming gods. As a Smite 1 parody change, can we show who is still in the post-match lobby? It's no use typing to somebody if they already left. I will go a step further and say it's no use typing to somebody, period. But I'm just checking. I think we could take a look at that. I don't remember how we did that in Smite 1.
I would say it's probably down to also the fact that we can't really do console chat at the moment as well. So it's kind of hard to display who's in chat and who isn't. Yeah. What it was there would be a player count in the bottom that you could hover over to see who was still in the chat once upon a time. Okay. But I know our chat systems in 2 have been completely different and reworked to make sense. They still need improvement. Yes. So.
Do I think skippable kill cams are cool?
There's a weird question. Do we think kill cams are cool, or do we think having kill cams and also being able to skip them is cool? That's you know what I mean? Like, do we think kill cams in general is good?
So I think that like if you have kill cams, they have to be skippable. Period. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
I think that the main benefit of kill cams.
How did I die? Yeah.
There's that's the first benefit, right? Yeah. Is how did I die, and theoretically learning something from the moment of death, right? And even games without kill cams have tried to solve this in different ways, like Team Fortress or Team Fortress 2, not Classic, will like swoop the camera around to just show you where you were killed
from.
The
point of impact, the player impact.
The player, like where the player was when they killed you, so you at least know where to like to look from.
The amount of agony facing away as you've taken a dot would be crazy of like, agony killed you.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, there's that. The other reason why a lot of games do it is because they want to give another option, another place to show off the cosmetics that you are using.
Yeah.
And making other people see the things that you have bought. Mm-hmm. People associate that with like, oh, this person has cool stuff. I should have cool stuff and I would do better in the game. Right. And there's kind of some, theories around that as well. But my experience in SMITE particularly, I think that when I die, most of the time, I'm more interested in seeing how the fight continues because it's usually in a team fight.
Correct. Yeah.
And I don't want to be like taken out of watching the team fight to see a kill cam of me dying.
Yeah.
Right? It's really pretty rare, I think, that I would want to watch a kill cam instead of continuing to watch the game in SMITE.
There's also a lot of additional stuff that comes into it, with it being a competitive game too, of like, if you watch a kill cam, you can see things that you didn't catch originally that then you can communicate with your team. For example, you could see a beads push in the jungle just before the fight happening. Go, oh, I know his beads are down. I know his ult's down. Yeah. You can get more information in a game. I'm not saying necessarily that's a bad thing, but it is an interesting thing to take into account.
And then I think the other just issue that scares me away from kill cams, and this was more from, I don't think we actually did a kill cam, but we did play the game in Paladins for a while. And this feature was responsible for so many bugs.
Right.
Because basically you needed to be able to rewind the game to a state and play it from that state and have things work perfectly, which, I mean, it doesn't really sound easy, but it's harder than you would think, because it's like, okay, well, the ability that triggered the audio cue started 2 seconds before this clip started. So how do you make sure that the audio cue is playing and that it has the right trigger to stop at the right time, and like all the effects are going on in the right place? And then if the person was lagging at all, the data that we have from the server, which is what we're replaying, is going to look kind of jittery, and people are going to think that they are hacking or something.
Sure.
When it's literally just, no, this is the feed of the data that we have.
Sure. And there's even people in the chat going, it'd be really good for helping with cheaters. Actually, no, it would just
it led to a lot of
false reports.
A lot of false reporting in Paladins, at least. And I'm not saying that the Paladins system was the best one, and there's not a better way to do it. But I'm just like, because of that past experience, I'm like, is it worth doing the effort for a system that we know is going to be hard, that I'm not sure most people would really want, versus just continuing to watch the game?
It's one of those things where it might be nice once or twice, but I think a lot of people would skip past it the majority of the time anyway, unless there was a certain weird instance. And then even then, it might not display.
Mm-hmm. Have I seen the results of the new Intersect God survey? I did. I watched it. I don't think...
I did see that in passing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't remember there being too many like huge surprises. The thing to remember, though, is that like the reason why I don't think there were too many huge surprises is because some of what the results are for that kind of survey, right, are going to be skewed by the viewership of Intersect, and Reddit, because he posted it on Reddit, right?
Yeah.
So just as an example, I saw Fafnir was pretty high up on the survey. Fafnir does survey better than his historical play rate. I'm not saying that he doesn't, right?
Sure.
But Fafnir is not like the second most requested Guardian if you survey a wide enough population of players. So I'm not going to go into depth about any of the other gods because I don't remember the full roster off the top of my head. I just remember seeing Fafnir up there and thinking, oh, that makes sense because this survey was on Reddit and it's people that are committed enough to the community they're watching Intersect, right? It's not like the majority of players. It's a good representative sample that is directionally informative, but it's not necessarily all of the players. Will there be a new survey soon with all the gods ported? We'll do a new survey at some point. I think that the data that we have is probably still pretty accurate.
I mean, we did this over in December.
Yeah, it hasn't been 5 months, I guess.
So we're at 5 months at the earliest right about now. And we've already made adjustments in the schedule, as you can see, in terms of some of the God releases. And a lot of people have been very excited about all the ones we've been doing recently. So that's good news.
You previously mentioned that Hubwa would be an easy god to port. I never know how I should say that. Should I just say Hebo or Hubwa?
That is legit his name, but I think a lot of English speakers say Hebo, especially in Smite world. But Hubwa is correct.
Because there's a group of players that say he would be unplayable without adding the server skin too, it would likely be a longer process. Would it not make sense to adjust the camera position on base Hubwa so the surfer skin isn't an advantage? So I get a lot of mixed feedback about this because you get people who like the base Hubwa and don't want the camera position moved. And you get people who say, well, it's not really the camera position as much as the animations on Hubwa or on Hebro.
Yeah,
I could just say Hebro for that one.
Hubro.
That make it like the way that I need to play the character. So I don't know. It's a tough one. It's one of the toughest problems to solve in terms of like how we make people happy with him. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It took me a year to realize his name was Xing Chen and not the Xing Titan. That's a really good misreading. I like that. Xing Titan. Now we got to make a Titan.
I mean, he has had patches where he was a Titan, that's for sure.
Playing Medusa recently made me think that her aspect should have something to do with statues. Aspect of the museum where there's a bonus for keeping the statues in play. Thoughts? So we talked a lot about Medusa statues when we brought Medusa over. And it's just like, it's such a relative, it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
It's really hard to make gameplay around it when, even if you're trying to make it happen, it doesn't happen that many times in the course of a game.
Sure. And they destroyed quite easily.
Yeah.
We could make them stay around permanently, but I think that could have knock-on effects of, I don't know, it just not be as useful.
Yeah.
I like the idea in general.
I love the idea. We all liked it. We just
tricky.
couldn't figure out like how you make it work with, like, I mean, if you made more substantial changes to your kit, maybe it's possible, but like, we were just trying to figure out how to make it work within the context of what she did. And we were like, she just doesn't get that many. Like, what's the UI team working on right now? UI team has been working on kind of some quality of life and cleanup stuff, and all of the general week-to-week stuff. However, we have quite a few vacations overlapping right now on the UI team, so I am not expecting any new UI features in the next update, at least.
Yeah, it's good to mention that again because you did mention it earlier on.
Yeah.
This past week or so. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is kind of a down period for UI, but we definitely like have a lot of bigger UI things we want to get to. Yeah.
Can you look at Mordred's intelligence build? He's way too broken when he builds like that. He was level 12 and doing golf. Yeah, we're aware of the Mordred people complain about Mordred with his intelligence builds at the moment. The team is going to take a look at it for sure. Just didn't get around to it yet because everyone decided the build appeared last week. So now people are like, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
So it'll play out a little bit. We'll probably make adjustments at some point.
This is part of what makes it so hard to balance a MOBA, right?
As soon as you get rid of one, there's a new one.
And he had been bad for a very long time. And like objectively at all skill levels, struggling, right? That's one of the reasons why we buffed him in this patch, right? And then like at the last minute, people are like, oh wait, what about this new way that we can do it, right? Yeah. It's one of the, for a while I was into watching StarCraft Brood War. Yeah. And I always found it really interesting how the meta for a game that's a decade old, that is not getting any updates, can still evolve drastically because people discover some new tech or some new, you can't ever
way
have
of dealing with something.
Yeah, you can't ever have a new perfectly balanced game. Sphere of Negation has a bug where it gives shields, but the shield won't protect from any damage. Are you sure? Because it should protect from magic damage.
That's exactly
only.
where my brain was going to go, and I don't want to accuse the person saying that of being incorrect, but it could be the case.
That's why I'm asking. Are you? Because it's possible that it's just not working. That's possible, but it was working as of very recently. So I would, and I don't think we touched it. So I'd be surprised if it stopped working. Can we get a random option for music theme? There's so many good ones. There are so many good ones. I agree with you on that. We did a show a long time ago where Kellen was on talking through his favorite music packs.
Yeah.
That was a fun show. If you were looking for one from the archives to watch because you're bored, that was a good one. Yeah, we want to get random options in for all the cosmetics basically, but it's just, it's one of those things where you're prioritizing it against. One of the things that we got in for this update was showing aspects on the God portraits in game, right? Which I think is like probably better for people's experience of the game than random music tracks. And we're just always trying to prioritize like, what is the thing that we think can make the most impact in the limited time that we have available for every update. Do we know which of the mini Bastet ults will be the Bastet ult? We were talking about that this morning. So we're experimenting with a couple different ideas right now. I would say just stay tuned and we'll have more details as we get closer.
I legit just walked into that today and asked that question because we were in a playtest with Bastet and I was like, hey, is this the plan? But it's always changing.
I don't understand this comment about Emir's wall. If you could explain what you mean by that.
What was the question?
It says, movement changes are visible. Try and use Emir's wall. He stops at the end 50% of the time. I don't know what stops at the end means. So
I'm not sure if it's a hang or it's in relation to tenacity, question mark?
Yeah, it could, there may be a tenacity knock-up thing with Emir wall.
Yeah.
That's entirely possible. Mm-hmm. With tenacity reducing vortex strength, speaking of tenacity, can we buff Eye of the Storm? Do you think Eye of the Storm needs to be buffed?
I've not seen it in play for a while at my levels of play, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's terrible or OP if we buff it. But, that's part of the fun of designing a MOBA. Sometimes you'll touch something because no one's playing it, and then everyone's like, it's strong, it's too strong.
Can we get the ability to purchase announcer packs individually? There's a few I want. With the huge amount in the chest, I'm not going to roll for them. So this is one of those sorry, we don't actually have the tech to sell things on the screen where you can equip announcer packs. So we don't have another way to sell them right now. At some point, we will sell them individually. We're not they're not only in a chest forever. We're not trying to be weird about it. But just that was the only way that we could get them into the game as a purchasable cosmetic. And at some point, we will add the tech to be able to buy things from the screen where you can equip them, and then we'll price them individually, and you can do that. People are asking about specific announcer packs that aren't in the game. For most of the ones that aren't in the game, we either didn't have the rights to bring it over, because it's a licensed thing, or it was done by an individual that used to work here, and we reached out to that person for their approval, and they either said yes or no, right? And that's the vast majority of ones that are not. I think all of the ones that are not in the game right now, there may be one or two that are the exception, but
there's a few.
By and large, if it's not in the game, that's why. So
I love the idea of me just bending down that room. The battery was down.
Yeah, I saw.
I'm just like, what?
I saw it because the camera picks up your screen, so I can see that the battery had gone low. So,
oh, it does. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, just barely. It depends on where it's positioned, but yeah. Will we ever get new event travelers akin to the Buzzing Bee and 4th of July one? Probably eventually. I think that right now a lot of our capacity is going towards creating the content for the bigger events. But at some point we will.
I haven't checked, so apologies if this is already in game, but can you add a drop-down filter under announcer packs for God announcer packs? If you do check out the game that went live today, the update, there has been some adjustments there, so have a little look through and see what you think. Definitely give us the feedback on it. But we've made it a lot easier to kind of sort through the content that you own and the sort of areas you were trying to find in terms of badges or cosmetics in some regard on your loadouts.
Is it likely for other gods to get lore-friendly touch-ups in cases like Bastet? So, first thing, Bastet, not really a touch-up, really a complete remodel, right? It was not an easy thing.
It wasn't a
to
touch-up,
change, right? So I just want to be clear about that. The other thing, just to we care about the lore of these mythological gods as we bring them over into Smite. However, we are not doggedly committed to representing their lore version one-to-one with their most recent, best-known mythological depiction.
Because a lot of them would be naked, according to what I understand.
A lot of them would either be naked or just look like dudes.
Yep.
You know, just it's just a dude in a toga. Cool, right? You know,
That's fair.
We intentionally try and put our own spin on the gods that's a little bit of a fantasy hero type spin to make them our own iconic version of the mythological god, right? And I think it's done really well for us, right? We end up with things is Giannis a robot? No, Giannis is not a robot. Is Scylla a little girl? Scylla's not a little girl, right? But we've come up with some really cool iconic variations of these gods by taking the mythology and interpreting it and putting our own little spin on it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people like what we do better than others, but I don't think that we're going to be we missed the lore drastically on that one. It's more if we just feel like a design isn't hitting the way that it should, we're more likely to go back.
I think that's whenever we discuss anything mythology based in films, movies, TVs, other video games, everybody has their own takes on how these deities, these gods, these goddesses are all kind of described or depicted.
Yeah. Did you, speaking of mythology in other media, have you seen the trailer for The Odyssey yet?
No, I haven't.
It just came out yesterday, day before yesterday.
Okay.
It's Chris Nolan new movie with Matt Damon as Odysseus.
Oh, interesting.
So
interesting.
And Robert Pattinson is also in it. I forget who he plays.
Nice. When's it due out? Is it just
this summer?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Okay. I definitely watch even more mythological stuff because I've worked on Smite for so long now and been more interested and interesting. Or other video games that have also depicted mythology in some sort of way too. So.
You know what I think is actually super underrated? I don't know if you played it, but the Ubisoft had an open world mythology game called why am I blanking out on it now? Not the Assassin's Creed one that was set in Greece, but they had another one, Immortals Phoenix Rising, I think it was called.
Okay.
And it was actually really fun. Is it the greatest game you've ever played? Certainly not. But I mean, only one game in your life is the greatest game you've ever played. So I had a fun time with it. I thought it was a solid 8, 9 out of 10 if you're a mythology open world person. I thought it was fun. It came out probably a decade ago now, but it was quite good. You loved Immortals Phoenix Rising. Yeah, it was fun. It was a really good game. Again, there are people who nowadays it's very trendy to hate on the Ubisoft open world formula.
Sure.
But if you're not one of those people and you like mythology, I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty well written. I thought that it actually got the story actually got a little poignant at points. It was good. What's your favorite game of all time? Favorite games? You can give a couple.
Star Wars Galaxies Online is one of the real go-tos. Yeah. It was one of the first MOBAs I ever played. Yeah. Not MOBAs, MMOs.
Was it Ralph Costin? Ralph something like that was.
I was a Wookiee sniper.
Oh, nice.
And I was one holocron away from becoming a Jedi.
Oh,
before they changed the system.
I was about to say that's impressive for the way that system used to be.
Before they changed the system.
Yeah.
But that game was crazy. And I used to play on NA servers because EU servers didn't exist when it first came out.
Yeah.
But that was way back when. It was probably my favorite for just my mind being blown of I'm flying to Tatooine and all these planets and stuff. Smite's on the list, Halo's on the list, GoldenEye's on the list,
GoldenEye's
Perfect
great.
Dark's on the list. But then There's so many games. There's so many games
Yeah.
through the history, but they're some of our top ones. What about you?
So yeah, I
I'm
mean,
gonna say Metroid. Area.
I do. So I love Metroidvanias. I play a lot of Metroidvanias. I would say that like probably the game other than Smite that I have played the most in my life is probably EverQuest. I played so much EverQuest, and I still think that like there are things about it that make it like one of the best MMOs ever. Like there are things that didn't age great, but you know,
Sure.
it's like the first one to do it. So like
All
you know.
all MMOs don't age in a
Yeah.
way. It's like certain areas age well, and others do not age well when you look back at the MMO.
I played a lot of MMOs. I was really into Shadowbane for a long time. I think it did a lot of things really well. I think like you know, I love Chrono Trigger. I think Chrono Trigger is probably the best RPG that's ever been made. And all you kids saying that Expedition 33 is the greatest RPG of all time, go back and play a classic. Go back and play a classic.
It is fantastic, to be fair. But yeah, I agree.
And like I also there again, yeah, this is just like things that I like, right? I also really enjoy like competitive multiplayer shooters with interesting movement. It's just like a genre that I really enjoy. Even if the game otherwise isn't great, like I can get really passionate about it. So like two games that I was super into for a while in like the 360 era were the Bionic Commando third-person shooter 3D one, which had a horrible single-player story. The single player was awful, but the multiplayer was incredible. Like swinging around like through the maps and shooting at people was really neat. And the Transformers War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron games by High Noon were so good. Like transforming, like going from car chase to shooter in the middle of like your flow of combat was just like peak. Yeah. So I really like multiplayer games that have that movement to them. Anyway, those are things that I enjoy about games.
I saw that question and I was like, if we go into that, it's probably going to take up most of the time.
That was just a few minutes.
But yeah,
that wasn't too long.
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. It made me jog my mind of like things like Time Splitters and stuff like
yeah,
that.
dude,
too.
Time Splitters was so good.
Great game.
Dude, one time in high school, I went with some of my friends to watch a Raiders game, and because I was in California, and we were like we got there super early and we're like tailgating in the parking lot, and they brought a TV and we were playing like Time Splitters on the TV like before the game, and it's like one of my fond memories.
The old days before the internet, when you hooked up machines together to play Halo, and you needed a house big enough to fit everybody in and places to sit. And in the UK, our houses are a lot smaller too, so it's not like the living rooms you have in the US.
One more non-Smite thing, and then we'll take a couple more Smite questions on the show.
Okay.
We've been all over the place today. Transformers mentioned. Have you watched Transformers 1, the animated movie?
I don't. Maybe I have, but I don't remember off the top of my head. I've seen most of the Transformers stuff at some point in time, mainly on flights for some reason.
Really good.
Yeah.
Like, by far the best modern Transformers movie, in my opinion.
Okay. And it was the animated version?
It's animated. Okay. It's entirely set on Cybertron. And I don't want to spoil anything about it, but it's very good, and it's streaming free on Prime right now.
Oh, okay.
So if you have Prime, highly recommend it. I was kind of like,
not so sure. Yeah.
Like the first 20 minutes, I was like, yeah, I don't know where this is going, whatever. And then like it kind of turns a corner, and I was just like entranced. Very good. If you like Transformers, which I do. So, all right. So my questions. Sorry.
That's fine.
Sorry. On patch day, there's not as much to talk about. So
we expected to come in and go, hey, these are the things we've noticed in the game, and people will be already giving us feedback of how the game's going, of like, hey, we don't like this, we do like this, but we don't have as much of that today.
Yep.
But we still thought it was worthwhile coming on.
Yeah, in case there's something people want to talk about, right? Explaining why the patch was delayed. I think it's that alone was worth coming on the show today and having a show. So,
everyone's asking us what shows we watch now. That's
I honestly don't watch too many shows anymore, other than like kid shows. So,
how will Horus ult fit into Smite 2 with Charon and Apollo ults now also doing similar things? I do think they all do different things at the moment on paper. Obviously, like the Apollo one's probably the one that stands out more to me than the Charon passive in terms of it. But I do think there's a lot more that the ultimate that Horus would brings a little bit different to it as well. In terms of the landing, the shield that it can provide, stuff like that. Not just, hey, we're in the sky, we're zooming around and dunking down.
Yeah.
So, I do think there's going to be a variation where people are going to look at it and go, oh, it does remind me of Apollo ult, and you might describe it as that, but it's different.
Yep. That's a good point. I should make a note on that.
Okay, I'll take this one.
Yeah, go
but
for it.
This,
Sorry,
this
I'm
is
just
a meme answer from me. What is your favorite thing about Camazotz? Him not being in the game is what I'll say. That I'm gonna say it.
I just feel like here's my issue with Camazotz. You've designed a winged character
That runs around on his toes.
runs around on his toes.
Yeah.
And has like the shortest jump in the game.
Sure. Well, I mean, to be honest, he doesn't.
And then
he
has
should
a
have a short
weird
jump.
flying ult.
But stay with me. Like, he's got little bat feet, right? He
Yes.
shouldn't be able to jump far. So that, thematically it makes
Yeah,
sense. But his
okay.
wings, he's kind of lazy, Is it because it's daytime and nighttime?
Ooh, I like that.
No, because then we have to commit to daytime, nighttime being a thing all the time.
Yeah, that's
for Camazotz to be, man, imagine him permanently flying at night or something like that. Listen, this is why I'm not on the God Design team, for sure.
Can we add back the red rectangle hitbox around enemies from Smite 1 to Smite 2? That is something that we do want to provide as an option for people who want it. We don't have it in the game because we actually found that for new players, it was like we had it in the very beginning of Smite 2.
Yeah,
right.
we did.
It wasn't super well arted. It was kind of designer art, but it was there, and we did away with it because it led a lot of people to think that the game was more like tab targeting, lock on. Like if the person's highlighted, I'm going to hit, right? Mm-hmm. And so we did away with that because we thought it better communicated that the game requires you to actually like aim your shots and hit things with your abilities. There's another one here that can a god's attack damage be made visible somewhere? It isn't shown in the God Builder, and it's not listed in the UI on the bottom right of the screen. I do believe you can see it if you mouse over the
attack
symbol.
Yeah, but it's kind of tricky.
But it's a little bit hard to see. I agree.
Have you guys seen the Reddit thread about the destroyable jungle shop away from base? So what do you think about that in your opinion? I saw that. I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool. What were your takes, Kilgoon, on a destroyable jungle shop?
So I think the more you let people shop out in the world, the less unique that Chang'e is when she does come out.
Sure.
Right, which is just something to think about.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing about the pitch, if I recall correctly, it was like the shop enables after a certain point in time.
Sure.
And generally speaking, I think that's kind of backwards from how that would probably work best. Normally, like those shops are most valuable for like while you're in the laning phase.
Yeah.
And then you kind of want them to go away as the map expands. So it's a little bit like maybe it's slightly different, just in terms of the flow of it.
Sure.
I think the other thing is like, I like this adds complexity and it's probably not actually a good thing for the game. But from a personal perspective, I kind of enjoy the Dota 2 approach of like, there is a secret shop with special items that you can only get at this shop versus this is another place to buy the things
that you want to buy from the normal shop.
Shop, right?
I think there's a lot to take into account of having a shop in the jungle that could be destroyable as well. Just in terms of one balance point off the top of my head of like it's a win more thing. If your team's winning, you destroy their shop, then they have to travel further to try and go to your shop or something like that.
Yeah.
I like the ideas in general of some sort of thoughts into that of like ways around it, but I get your point as well of like, should the shop sell the same stuff? Should it have a limited, inventory or something like that? Like,
and going back to the shop is a lot less punishing than it was in Smite 1 with the teleports. So it's like, how much of a problem are we really solving by having it out on the like one thing that I actually think would be more fun, which this is something I pitched but nobody else likes, so I'm just gonna throw it out there, is having more of like a not at the same pace because people are gonna freak out when I say this, but like a slow healing fountain out in the world.
Okay.
That has like that recharges slowly over time.
Right. So you like regen while you're in it, you mean?
Yeah. So basically like
a pool.
Like let's say there's a pool of water and that like
a kiddie pool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kiddie pool. And while you're standing in the kiddie pool, you regen your health at, let's say it's a quarter of the speed of the fountain.
Sure.
Because the fountain's very fast.
But
right?
regen, yeah.
Yeah. But you regen pretty aggressively, right?
Okay.
But then as you're regenning, the pool empties.
Oh,
so
okay.
then like you have to like you can't like
You gotta stay in
can't,
front.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody can't just stand in it and all heal up, right? It becomes a resource that you're fighting over that helps people stay out on the map longer.
Right.
I think it could also be like a win more thing where it's like, if I'm ahead, I can stay out more and, do
You
that.
take some poke, you fall back to it, you heal up, you go back out again. Yeah,
But I think it also just could be a really interesting objective to fight over.
potentially.
So anyway, that's one of my, like the Jungle Wisps. No, the Jungle Wisps are like a very small amount of health. This would be much larger. And also like at a fixed location where it's, it's more like,
Yeah.
because it has to be at a fixed location for people to want to like
Travel.
have
to,
fights around the watering hole,
Plan for it.
So
It really is. That's what you're kind of describing. It's
yeah.
like a safari watering hole where people turn up and there's crocodiles in the water waiting
yeah,
for you.
the specific idea for this, like that's been stuck in my head, is from, I don't know if did you ever play? You probably didn't. This is a obscure video game. It's a video game called Nox.
The name rings a bell, but
Yeah, it was a action RPG from Westwood, the people that made Command and Conquer.
yeah.
And it was really, really good, and it had an incredible multiplayer. And that was part of their map design was mana regen areas.
In the pools.
They weren't pools; they were like obelisks of light, and the light got dim as you'd like. But because most of the classes needed mana to do stuff, like while you were out playing deathmatch, right?
Yeah.
Like you would need to go over by there, and so some people would be like waiting there to like try and kill you when you went by,
okay.
or you were kind of like a
Subjects.
sitting duck while you're like trying to regenerate there. They didn't have the idea of going to base, so it's not 100% a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
But that's just like it was a neat thing in that game, and I've often thought about like a similar thing in
interact
Smite
with it.
could be an interesting objective.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Okay, we're at 2:04.
Sorry.
We did go a little bit longer.
Sorry.
But it is time for
One more question.
We'll
Quick
do
one.
one or two more and see if there's any that are out there.
will we enable stream rewind so people can rewind or post VODs instantly? I don't even know that was a thing. Is that a thing that we can do?
Stream rewind?
That'd be cool if we could. I'd be fine with it. Like I don't have a.
You mean on like Twitch? It should be available. It depends on if the channel, I believe, has it active for you to be able to like just rewind it live or not. I think it's whether it's.
Oh, it's only for Nitro subscribers.
Well, there you go. That's not on us.
Rip.
I wonder why I could do it on certain channels and not others, but I guess it is because I use Nitro or Turbo for that.
Or Turbo, yeah, Turbo. Yeah, Nitro's Discord.
Yeah.
Turbo.
Any update on Solo Island? No, my dreams of a real Solo Island probably will exist.
Maybe we just build it in the middle of the watering hole, and then
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Perfect. Solo Lane is getting an infinite water hole to heal at.
Yeah, I like it. They don't need a blue buff anymore. They just get their mana
Yep.
from it.
Will Kimi Antonelli win the F1 Drivers' Championship? It's too early for that.
It's really too early. He's off to a good start though.
They did okay. I'm not sold 100%, but
Yeah.
Kimi's looking like
He's looking good.
Verstappen's kind of back though,
Yeah,
as long as he stops spinning.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think it's an interesting season because McLaren also looks back.
Well,
right?
they changed some of the
So,
rules, and they
did.
also just had a break where they've all upgraded their engine, so it's a little bit more competitive there at the front. So exciting.
And we are officially in the month of May, so it's Indy 500 season.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so get ready.
Keeping an eye on that. All right, one more. I'm sure we can find one more. How do you get old Twitch drops if you miss them? At the moment, there isn't a way for you to claim them. We have talked a little bit internally, to be honest, not as much as we probably should have regarding that, but it is something we're going to revisit in the future of like giving the opportunity for people to potentially get them again. How and when, we don't know. But we are aware that we've had a lot of Twitch drops, and if you missed that month, then you've missed it. But we will look into that in the future and give you some feedback on it.
Cool.
Yep. You good?
I'm good. We're already over, and we answered a lot of questions today.
We
and
are
had a
indeed.
good
And
time.
also, it's patch day, so we're kind of scrambling around, find out what the issues are and stuff like that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Appreciate you all hanging out. We'll be back on Friday with more of an update, just kind of recapping what's going on from the last 48 hours since the game was released. But if we don't see you beforehand, we'll see you on the Battlegrounds. Goodbye.